Hello, everyone, and welcome to February's Flash Fiction. I've got a new background. Just didn't want to set up the whole backdrop. Takes about half an hour to set up and take it down. So just to simplify things, I'm just sitting next to some artwork that a friend of mine, Lee Nielsen, did, and we're going to jump right into the short story, which is called Transmit. And it's a continuation of the Harvesters and Scrappers universe, just in a slightly different environment. So no need to read the other ones, but if you'd like, they will be in the blog where you can find them. So let's get into it. Transmit. Log 1-06-0. Alan McLeod of the EX7006. I couldn't believe it when we first found out that we were able to reverse engineer the ships. I was a young buck then, still learning the ins and outs of mechanical work. The higher-ups let me have a hand in deconstructing the crafts. Lucky me. The thrill of being able to head for the stars was something humanity hoped to happen for decades. A colonization mission could finally let us escape the grasp of those organ-picking gene freaks. Of course, we're no fools, and we knew about the dangers of trying to leave Earth. Harvesters orbit the planet continually, waiting for us to stand out on the surface. Where else are they going to look for us? I wanted to be on the first ship to leave the planet. The higher-ups needed me back at base. So the years went by. EX7006 worked just fine. Like myself, the whole crew are seasoned at dealing with the Harvesters. Space travel took us a while to get our heads around. Sometimes I wonder if humankind is even meant for the stars. Then I remember we're human. We defy nature. We've managed to surpass every environmental challenge, and space would be no different. We're the 7th expedition to leave the planet. Most of the previous missions involved returning home, allowing us to understand space travel further. We needed to get a sense of how our bodies handle space travel and synthetic gravity. This mission was different. A one-way ticket to a new world. There used to be more crafts in the fleet. Unfortunately, with every launch, we attract the Harvesters. The gene freaks have gunned a lot of our ships down, killing good men and women. Their deaths have not been in vain, for their sacrifices have brought us here. EX-7006 is leaving the solar system. This log will be transmitted directly back to Earth. It will serve as a record for what we may discover as we pass into the unknown, despite the growing time delay that these transmissions will take. I'm sure Captain Ross would prefer if I didn't send these, but what's he gonna do? He needs me, and we're limited on resources. On a personal note, let me tell you, leaving the Earth behind is unlike anything else you would ever see. It progressively gets smaller and smaller. Eventually, you lose interest. There was a subtle green hue that came from the kitchen window, like ink and water. I didn't look directly out the window. I didn't think there was much to be seen. Maybe it's just the tint in the glass. Regardless, it was nice to get one last look at everything before we entered hibernation in the stasis pods. The ship is en route. Autopilot is a go. Log 1-06-1. Alan McLeod of the EX7006. We have woken from our stasis pods. It appears to be on time for what we experimented back on Earth. The nausea is something else. We couldn't train for it. Adapting to the simulated gravity can place strange effects on your psyche. The lightheadedness does go away, and we can now see to our duties. We've all worked together to adapt to this new state of being. Captain Ross ensured that all procedures were followed, and everyone was cleaned up and ready to initiate their tasks. Some of us handled the awakening a little easier than others. Poor Annie. She started vomiting intensely a few hours later. We were in the kitchen. She was looking at the stars through the green-tinted window. She didn't blink, nor move, looking a little too long. I asked if she was okay. Her skin was pasty. All of ours were, but hers more so. That's when she vomited, projecting it all over the glass. The doctor had to take her to the med bay. I'm sure she'll recover soon. Even with my mechanical background, I oversee counting the food rations. It's a bland and simple task, and is welcoming. Maintaining the ship's thrusters can be a tedious job. Plus, we should track what we have for supplies. Chances are we won't be going back to sleep. There's only so much power on the ship, and we need to savor it for when we enter this new solar system. The pilot and crew are already scanning through the digital maps to see where the planets are in orbit around the red dwarf sun. They're ensuring we're staying on course. A lot of smart minds back home have theorized the possible risks of traveling in space. There is plenty of talk about the psychological struggles that can occur when you're floating around in a metal tin can through the giant vacuum of space. We're resilient. Hopeful, one could say, that we will find a new planet that we can inhabit. Most of us do not talk about the actual mission, since it has been quite clear for decades why we're leaving Earth. We have bigger questions, such as what we might find. I admire everyone on the ship. The crew are strong people that are willing to sacrifice themselves for the sake of humanity. We will escape the Harvester's grasp. Captain Ross has been keeping a formal log of what has been occurring since we managed to launch from the tiny blue dot. For me, this log is more about the realism of our trip. Let me tell you, sharing a toilet amongst each other crew members can be a bit tedious at times. The same goes for the high hygiene powder. It works, but I can't help but wonder if we run out. If we don't land on a planet. Or how Annie is recovering. That was a lot of vomit. All worries. Maybe that's the psychological struggles of space travel. I'm sure the other crew members share the same thoughts. There's no point in talking about it. We must work together. Log 1-06-2, Alan McLeod of the EX7006. I believe about a week has gone by since we have woken up from the stasis pods. The crew is getting a bit anxious to know when we are going to land. Captain Ross has assured us that everything is going according to the projected schedule. I was never a pilot, nor an astronomer, and couldn't give it any professional insight. One thing I did know, though, if something is on a scheduled route, there isn't much control that we have. I don't know. Perhaps I'm overthinking it. Annie hasn't gotten better. The doctor ensures that it's just a bit of space sickness. Something like getting seasick, apparently. Seems odd. Not my department, though. I just ensure this hunk of gene-freak metal keeps humming smoothly. I clued in that the windows aren't green-hued. It was coming from outside in the one kitchen window. I talked to Zoe, the astronomer. She says she's familiar with the phenomenon. Then again, she probably has a bit of disorientation from being in a new solar system and seeing space from a new angle. I haven't looked at the window, but everyone says it's surreal. The green light has no focal point. It simply glows all around. I couldn't tell you why I haven't looked. I just haven't. We try not to spread rumors around. Seeing something abnormal like this glowing green space raises suspicion. Zoe said she is going to do some research and let us know what she discovers. Captain Ross ordered that we don't overtalk this spectacle and hypothesize that it's something that it's not. We can't help it. We're only human. Hell, I remember as a kid all the rumors that were floating around about harvesters. Space demons are what they were called. Of course, that is all bogus. They are just a prime example of where transhumanism gets you. As a kid, your imagination runs wild, and I don't think that has ever left us. We just suppress it and accept reality as it is. What if all of reality is taken away? We're not on Earth anymore. We are soaring at immense speeds through the vacuum of space. Reality that we once knew is no more. Thinking this about that way really can spark your imagination again, for better or worse. Log 1-06-3. This is Alan McLeod of the EX7006. Zoe vomited. Just like Annie. I saw her in the engine room. She begged me not to tell anyone. I wasn't sure why I agreed, but I said okay. She's cute. I'm human. Oddly enough, that same day was when Captain Ross brought everyone into the meeting hall to discuss urgent matters. The doctor was with him, explaining that if any of us feel nauseous, to report to him immediately. A virus may have been on board during the ship's launch and has mutated. That's the running theory. I don't know. That's the doc's job. Captain Ross told the crew members to be completely transparent and share anything abnormal that they may witness amongst crew members. It doesn't sit well with me, even though I know it's for the best of humanity. So, I asked if the captain and Doc, where Annie was. They told me she was in the med bay. I found that odd, and asked if they were hiding anything. Boy, let me tell you, that did not go over well. After that speech, the whole crew was on edge. Zoe found me in one of the storage units where I was counting supplies. She looked sick. Her skin was moist as if she were sweating. She said there was something wrong with her. I told her that we needed to tell the doctor. It was for the safety of the whole crew. She said she understood and knew what happened to Annie. Before I had a chance to ask, Tom and Lydia, the captain's top rank, came to the storage unit and seized Zoe. She shouted, "It's in the Dan Hugh!" As the two began to drag her away, she vomited again. Blood spewed onto the floor. I stood back, watching in disbelief. Zoe's skeletal frame began to turn to mush, convulsing. She leaked red goo from her orifices. Her skeletal frame dissipated. She was only held together by her skin. Tom and Lydia let her go and she fell to the floor like a folding slab of meat. Seeing a human being without a skeleton is difficult to describe. I don't think I want to. I wonder if that is in the captain's official log. Log 1-06-4. Alan McLeod of the EX7006. Despite Captain Ross's best efforts to keep command, the crew continues to talk about what happened to Zoe. I don't bother. What's the point? All it does is start rumors. Holding on to the past doesn't help either. Some of the crew members mentioned that the green space hasn't left. No matter how far we travel, it seems to stay there, right by the kitchen window. I stopped going there and just started grabbing food from the storage unit. I'm usually not one of superstition. This hue hasn't creeped out. We passed several planets in the solar system. There had to be over a dozen. Zachary was telling me that we were headed for a large Earth-like planet. He's the environmental expert. He worked closely with Zoe in deciphering where exactly we were going to go before our ship left Earth. Apparently, the planet is suitable for humans. Now, Zachary works on his own. Shortly after Zoe's demise, the crew demanded answers from Captain Ross and the doctor. The captain summoned everyone to the meeting room and finally came clean. He told us that Annie had died shortly after she vomited, and her symptoms matched Zoe's. This caused an uproar. Most of the crew members felt betrayed by the captain and the doctor. They were not honest with everyone. I don't blame the crew. Keeping secrets was no way for us to survive space travel. Captain Ross ordered that the crew continue to operate as normal. I spoke up, asking what Zoe meant that it was in the Dan Hugh. Another crew member asked about the kitchen. The doctor said to stay clear from it until the window is shielded. Just then, Zachary began to vomit. Everyone backed away, watching in horror as the man regurgitated his innards like meat paste through a tube. Several other crew members began projecting blood. Gore was everywhere. I managed to avoid most of it, except for the splatters on my overalls. The doctor, too, began to vomit. Captain Ross, myself, and Lydia are the only ones who are unaffected. Maybe they didn't look at the green hue either. We could only watch helplessly as their comrades fell before us. It didn't take long for them to stop vomiting, collapsing onto the floor like sacks of meat. Lydia entered a full-on panic attack, asking what we were going to do. Captain Ross ordered her to remain calm as we attempted to come up with a plan. There were no more secrets now. We all had to work together. Captain Ross mentioned that the doctor first thought that the illness had something to do with the stasis pods. That wasn't accurate at all. Later, after the doc began to feel some symptoms himself, he contacted the captain and told him to shut all the windows immediately. The sickness came from the green hue. It all happened so fast, we were unable to act in time. I regret saying, but Captain Ross is not suitable for command. The argument got pretty heated, and a couple of fists were involved too. Lydia calmed down. I got my frustrations out, and Captain Ross is finally transparent with us. Log 1-06-5. This is Alan McLeod of the EX7006. I'm not sure how soon these logs will take to transmit to Earth. Hopefully sooner than later. Everyone back at home must know what happened. Humanity can build new crafts and send more people beyond our solar system, away from the harvesters. They need to know some of the dangers that lurk out in the unknown. We've shielded all windows from the green light. We can only presume that it is still there. Whatever it is followed us from our solar system and into this new one. Maybe we flew straight through it while in the stasis pods and attached to the ship like a net. Whatever it is. Our course still aims for the large Earth-like planet. We're overworked, with only 3 of us managing a ship the size of the EX-7006. We will make it to this new world. We will inhabit it and continue the colonization plan. This is what we were trained for. Scout out a new planet and bring more colonization ships. I will send a log once we have reached the atmosphere. All 3 of us can only hope that the green hue doesn't follow the landing pods and does not affect us when we land. We don't know till we try. We're daring the unknown, as humans do. And that is Transmit. If you enjoyed this short story, please share with your friends online. And we'll be back for next month with another flash fiction. So until then, take care. Ciao.